Yeah, Winston Allen. I was talking to him about unlicensed fights and all that, and I'm going to do a podcast with him very soon, a big podcast. He's got a great story, mate. He's a proper fighter, mate, on the street and off the street. I'm going to have a talk to him about the Welsh guy as well, Pierce over there, and see what he's telling me about that. Price Pierce, what his name is, because he would know him out there, and see what he says about it. Yeah. Also, I was talking about Lenny McLean. He said, Ray, he said, what is it with this Lenny McLean? He went, how did Lenny McLean become one of the best fighters there was? He couldn't fight, Ray. He couldn't fight, mate. In the ring, he's completely useless. Listen, I started my program in my pro game in '78. I've been to a couple of fights to watch Len, and he's, mate, Ray, he was useless, mate. He was completely useless. Frankie Warren made who he was, mate. And he's on the door of the clubs. Mate, he used to poo himself. I was going with a few of my pals. He used to poo himself. He didn't want to know, mate. He didn't want to know. He just let us through. Just let us through. Come in, boys. And just let us. He knew. He knew. If it kicked off, he was in trouble, mate. Listen, he had no chance, Ray. I'd have bashed him up 24/7. I said, what about Roy Shaw then? He went, listen, I've got respect for Roy Shaw. Big prison man, done plenty of bird in prison. He got a good name in prison. Yeah, but, Ray, different league, mate. They're a different league to me, Ray. I said, what about Cliff Hills? He went, well, Cliff Hills, once upon a time, he was a good fighter. Then he got into the unlicensed fight, he was finished, Ray. He was finished. Billy Hayes stopped him. I said, you thought Billy Hayes did it? What happens? He said, well, I think Billy Hayes stopped me too, Ray. I'm not quite sure. It was on points or stuff. I can't remember, Ray. It's a long time ago. I said, yeah, leave off. You know what you did or didn't do, Billy Hayes. He said, listen, let me say something to you. I had some good fights. Right? He said, but if I'd have got into the unlicensed shit game, Ray, he said, I'd have been top, mate. He said, I'd bashed them all up. I'd have bashed them all up. I said, you wouldn't bash me up. He said, mate, come on, mate. It's a different league. He says, it's a different league. So anyway, he started shaping up and throwing, he cannot fight a punch. He's still got it there, mate. He's still got it. Fair play to him. He was throwing some left jabs at me, mate. It was just whizzing behind my face, you know what I mean? And I thought, hold up. He's got massive hands. And what we used to do, me and him, we used to do a thing about, grips. Me and Winston, right? Grip, he's got massive hands and he's very strong on the grip, yeah? And I'm very, very strong on the grip. So me and him Larry was on the grip game, yeah? Holding each other's hands and crashing them. And he was saying, you still got your range? I said, yeah, mate, I have, yeah, definitely. I still got it, you know what I mean? And he's shaping up again. I was bobbing and weaving a bit, you know. Yeah, we had a good time, mate, me and him. But, when he talks about Frankie Warren, he said, Frankie Warren, wait, he's the worst promoter going. He promotes where he's got. I don't know how he got what he got, but he is the worst promoter going, mate. He's like a baby. He's like a baby. He's like he throws his dummy out of the cot. You know what I mean? When he was doing the unlicensed fighting, mate, with Lenny McLean, he's like he mollycoddled him, mate. Lenny McLean was the worst fighter I've ever seen. Right. He was the worst fighter I've ever seen. How people keep talking about Lenny McLean, as if he was something. He was nothing, mate. I said, look, he made him, Frank. I know he made him. He said, made him? Right. Lenny McLean was just a made-up person, mate. There's some good fighters on that unlicensed game that never got nowhere because they wasn't pushed forward like him. He was his cousin, relative or something, As you know, Funky Warren's got a big gangster family as well. He's involved in all that shit, So I didn't know that. Well, I did know that, but anyway. Yeah, but I said, well, Cliff Fields, he said, Ray, he said, I'd have smashed Cliff Fields to pieces. I'd have cut his eyes, I'd have smashed him. He said, I know for a fact that he's very hard to put on the floor. He's hard. He's an hard man, yeah? Right, but he cuts up. He just keeps coming forward. He said, I would smash him to pieces, mate. I'll cut him up, something terrible. I went, "So fair play to you, mate, fair play to you." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'd have been the governor. If I'd have got into the unlicensed fighting, I'd have been the governor. You know what I mean, without a shadow of a doubt." I said, "Well, you know," I said, "what do you reckon really about Frank?" Frank said, "Ray," he said, "it's the same now, innit? He throws his dummy out there now. He's the same thing, mate. You know what I mean? He's how he got what he got. I don't know. He got it, I think he got it through Lenny, and Lenny got it through him. You know what I mean?" He said, "I see Lenny on when he got on the voids. Went up to 20 odd stone, 6'3", 6'4", big man, mate. You know what I mean? But that was it. You know, Frankie Warren made him, mate. He made who he was, and that was it. You know, I mean, you was a good fighter, right? You could bang, mate." He said, "I remember seeing you down at Sunshine Hall when you was fighting. Oh, of course I'm coming down there to see you. You know what I mean?" He said, "I remember years ago when you was big. You just come out of prison, and you was down Gary's gym, G's gym, in Pope's Lane." He said, "and you was bashing out his big dumbbells. I think it was like big 100 kg dumbbells. I don't know, some stupid weight dumbbells, massive. Might have been 100 pound dumbbells or whatever they was, yeah." He said, "You was throwing them around like it was going out of fashion. You was just smashing them, mate. You know, smacking." I thought to myself, "Yes, he's an animal." And I said, "Yeah, I was big, man. I was powerful. It's the voids, isn't it?" I said, "Lenny was on the voids. I was on the voids. A lot of them fighters on the voids. Do you know what I mean? It made us animals, mate. It made me an animal, mate." He said, "Look," he said, "we'll do a podcast with you, Ray. You know, obviously, so it maybe might be the end of this week. It could be the end of next week, yeah. But we're definitely going to do one. Me and you got to get together. There's things me and you got to do. You know, I want us, me and you, to go forward. As I said to you the other day, I'm in good shape, Ray. If we can get a fight, let's get a fight. I don't think there's anybody on the unlicensed game that can fight, which I've seen. None of them can fight, mate. So a lot of getting in the ring and smashing them all to pieces, really, on the they can't fight, mate. They're all mouth, and nothing. They can't punch or nothing. They're just a waste of time. So let's see if we can get a couple of fights going, yeah?" He said, "I'm up for that, big time." He said, and I said, "Look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see Joe Smith, get all of Joe Smith and have a talk to him, see if I can get a couple of fights going, yeah? You want up for that?" I said, he said, "Yeah, mate. Ray, you're talking to Winston Allen. I want to fight, yeah? That's what I do. I want to fight. Pity Lenny live now, mate. Always sure any one of them I'd have bashed up, mate. I'd have been number one. Anyway, bang, bang, well, nice one."